So asexual mode of reproduction is the kind of reproduction where new plants are obtained without production of seeds, right? So no seed is produced without production of seeds, right? The very first way in which the reproduction takes place is vegetative propagation. Now over here you will understand that why in the beginning of the session we talked about the two parts, that is the vegetative part and the reproductive part. When we talk about vegetative propagation, it is important to understand that we are talking about the propagation of plants by the vegetative parts. What are these vegetative parts? These are leaves, these are stem and root. So when the propagation takes place with the help of these parts, it is known as the vegetative propagation. Right? So when I say propagation, that means reproduction, that is producing a new plant. So it is a type of asexual reproduction in which new plants are produced from roots, stems, leaves and buds. Right? Now these buds also are students. These are not the buds that are there for the flower. We'll talk about what are these buds that we are talking about. These buds are vegetative buds, right? So we'll talk about that in detail in this session. For now, let's understand that leaf, stem, root and buds are used to produce new plants. And because we saw that the reproduction is through vegetative parts of the plant, hence it is called as the vegetative propagation. That means the reproduction which happens with the help of these vegetative parts. Right? Now to understand this properly, let's perform an activity. It's a very simple activity in which you are going to cut a branch of rose or champa with the node. So what is a node? Let's understand that. The node is the part of the stem or the branch where the leaf arises. Over here you can see this is the part that is the node and this is the part where the leaf will start forming. So suppose this is a stem and over here there is node, right? So from here the branching will occur and new leaves will be formed. Even on this branch there are nodes which help in the formation of the leaves, right? So node is the part where the leaves are formed or leaves are produced. Now what we are going to do is we are going to cut the branch, and understand this, it is important for us to cut the branch which has this kind of node, right? Now this piece of branch which is termed as a cutting. What we are going to do is we have taken, suppose this part over here, like this is the cutting that we have taken, it's a rose cutting. Now what we are going to do is we are going to plant it in a pot and we are going to water it daily, right? And in a few days we will observe that this part, this cutting will start developing roots and it will start forming new branches and leaves. What you have to observe here is, what we have to see is observe the number of days taken to come out. Number of days taken by the roots to come out, right? So what we want is that we are going to observe that how much time it takes for the root to come out. Now another thing which we are going to observe is the number of days for new leaves to form. So two things that we are new leaves to form. So two things that we are observing is the number of days it will take the root to come out and the new leaves to form, right? Now this activity can also be repeated with the help of money plant, right? And what we are going to do is that you must have seen that you can take a money plant's cutting. Again, it should contain a node and you can keep it in a jar which has water in it. It will be easier for you to observe the formation of roots in that, right? So these are the two plants or rather three plants with the help of which you can perform this activity and you can make this observation. It is important to look at the observation because this will help you in understanding how quickly the roots are being formed and how quickly the plant is developing. Right? Now, let's understand that what we were talking about, the bud, right? We said that there was a vegetative bud which helped in the formation of roots and which help in the formation of branch and leaves. Now there are two types of buds. First bud is the reproductive bud or the bud which forms flower, right? These are very common birds and we know that, and easily we are easily able to observe it, right? So these buds are forming into flowers. So these are not the ones which we use, right, in the asexual reproduction. These vegetative buds are the ones which will help in the propagation of or increasing the stem and leaves, right? It helps in the formation of leaves. Over here you are looking at a vegetative bud. Also over here, as you can see, this also is a vegetative bud. What exactly happens is that this is a small stem, right, which has leaves wrapped around it, right? So there are leaves that are wrapped around it, and as and when the growth of the stem takes place, right, so these leaves start to open up, right, and as and when the over here it might be again wrapped up, then further when it will grow, so the leaves will also grow, right. So in this way these buds help in the formation of leaves, right. So these are the buds which are present at the axil, right. So what is an axil? It is the point of attachment of the leaf at the node, right. So this is the vegetative bud which helps in the formation of stems and leaves, right. So as you can see over here, this is a small stem which has immature smaller leaves wrapped around it, and as these are the immature leaves that we are talking about, immature leaves, right. And then once this immature leaves are formed, the stem will start growing like I showed, and the leaves will start maturing, and this leads to the formation of the branch and leaves. Now this bud is also capable of producing a new plant, right. So that is why it is a very important bud, and we need to understand the difference between the two. One is the reproductive bud that gives rise to the flowers, and other is the vegetative bud which give rise to stem and leaves. This was all about cutting as to how we are using stem for reproduction. There is another way in which we use stem for reproduction. Let's understand that with the help of an activity. Now, in this activity, it's a very simple activity. What you have to do is, you have to take a fresh potato, and what you're going to do is, you're going to first of all observe the potato with the help of a magnifying glass, right. So you will see that there are certain scars that are present in the potato, right. Say these are the scars that we are talking about, and these scars are called as the eyes, right. To understand it a little better, let's observe. I'll help you by showing you a potato which has or which shows the presence of eyes. Now, over here, if you look at this potato, I'm pretty sure you will be able to observe this potato. You will find that there are these eyes that are present on the potato, right. Then you can see this part over here, if you can see like this, right. Then you have another part over here, right. This is the other part, and then you have this particular eye, right. All of these are called as the eye of the potato, right. This is the eye if you keep it for some time, right. So what you can do is take a fresh potato, observe first of all the eyes. You can also count that how many eyes are there on a potato. Then keep it for some time, say for example 4 to 5 days or a week. After that, you will observe that the potato will start growing small plant-like structures like this, right? As you can see over here, this is the old potato. As you can see over here, this is an old potato, and this kind of structure has started growing in it. And look at the potato, the way it is, right? So over here also you can see this small structure, it has started growing, and the potato is all wrinkled and it is very soft to touch. Whereas the fresh potato is quite firm, right? So when we observe this, what do this activity tells us? What is the importance of this activity? That it shows that these eyes help in the formation of new plants. Now the next step which you do is, first of all, when you have seen these eyes, cut it into small portions, and each portion, be very careful that each portion should contain an eye in it. Then what you are going to do is, you are going to bury it in the soil and you are going to water it properly. Then after you have watered it, observe the progress. Observe the progress. That means that suppose you buried this particular eye or the potato on Monday. Then you keep on observing, keep on watering, and you will see that maybe by next Tuesday or Wednesday, you will start observing a little bit growth, right? So this is how you're going to observe the progress. That is, that how long does it take for the plant to start coming out from the potato. So apart from potato, we can also see this kind of growth happening in ginger. Ginger is also a stem, right? Potato is also a stem, that is a modified stem, and ginger is also a stem in which you will find that new plant growths can be seen, right? In the same way as we can see it in the potato. Now, if you saw the difference between the fresh potato and the potato which had started growing these small plantlets, you will find that this is much more softer, because for this growth, this particular smaller plant which is growing is utilizing the matter that is present inside the potato, and that's why it has become a little mushy. So this is not suitable for human consumption, right? So in this way, we see how stems are helping, or they are used in the growth of your plants. Now, if we look at another example, that is the bryophyllum. This is a special type of plant in which the leaf is used for getting new plants. Now over here you can see that these the notches that are present on the leaf, on each notch there is a growth of the new plant. It has also developed, these plants have also developed roots, as you can see, right? So these leaves have buds in the margin of its leaves, and these grow into new plants. If this bryophyllum leaf falls on the moist soil, it will start to each bud will start giving rise to a new plant, right? So over here we saw that another important vegetative part, that is the leaf, is giving rise to new plants like this, right? In some of the plants, roots also play a very important role for the growth of new plants. These are some of the examples are dahlia and sweet potato. Both of these are roots which are used for the growth of new plant, right? So over here we saw that all the three important vegetative parts, or rather four important vegetative parts, that is the stem, the vegetative bud, the leaf and the root, is capable of producing new plants. In plants like cactus, this is a very special thing, that if a part of the cactus falls on a ground which will help in the growth of the plant, that part will germinate or will start growing into a new plant, right? So different parts that get detached from the plant will start growing a new plant, right? So this also happens in cactus. So in this way we saw how the vegetative propagation takes place. This is one of the important modes of asexual reproduction. So let's understand what are the advantages, and that's again, this is a question that Bujo is also asking, that he wants to know if there is any advantage of growing the plants by the method of vegetative propagation. So what are the advantages? So what are the advantages? So the plant that is grown by vegetative reproduction grows faster. That means the growth rate is faster. It will bear the fruits also faster. Right? So when it grows faster, so we will see that bears flowers and fruits faster as compared to other plants. Right? Apart from that, these are the plants that are grown from vegetative reproduction. These are the exact copies of parent plant. So why again it is helpful? Suppose we have a plant of say rose that is pink in color, which is quite a rare color for rose, and we want more and more copies, and the flower is also quite robust. So what we do is we take a stem from that rose and we start growing it, and we'll see that because it is the exact copy of the parent plant, we'll get the same color with the same quality of the flower, right? So in this way we see that how the asexual or specifically vegetative reproduction, right, helps in getting the exact copies of the parent plant. Later in the chapter you will see that the sexual reproduction, in sexual reproduction this is not the case, because there are two parents involved, there are two gametes involved, and we'll see how these gametes cause the variation in the plants, right?